coming back to the show, making his sophomore appearance on the DueDissidence podcast, Matt Taibbi. Matt, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Keaton. How's it going? How's it going, Russell?
Good. How are you, Matt?
Good.
Good, and that will double as our second sound check, because I know you switched mics during the countdown. So beautiful. We can hear you loud and clear. Good. Excellent. Well, yeah, thanks so much for being here. It's great to see you again. A lot has happened since you were last here. When you were last here, you were here to talk about the Twitter files, and your life has only gotten more interesting since then. Who'd have thought that the Twitter files would not be the peak? It would actually get crazier for you since then.
Yeah, it's been a weird year. This is exactly a year and a day since the first Twitter files, and
wow,
and it's been pretty strange and very frustrating, gentlemen. I'll have to tell you. I mean, for the most part in my life, I haven't taken this job personally, but the last year of watching like the sort of traditional ACLU liberal crowd completely blow off this story has been kind of maddening. It's gotten to me personally in a way that like nothing I've ever done before has, and I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me. It's been I don't know. So hope we can talk about that a little bit, because that's part of the backstory to this week too. So.
Well, yeah, you were mentioning when we were setting this up how, you were kind of dreading going back to Washington, having to do round two with, Plaskett and Wasserman Schultz and Dan Goldman. Was Dan Goldman in Congress the first time, or is he new? He was there, right? Yeah. That's right, because that was earlier this year. That was March. Or no, that was later.
It was March.
Yeah, it was after, right. Yes. So you mentioned how that was going to be, this drag of an experience, and I'm sure it was, but the universe did throw you a bone by shit canning Mehdi Hasan at MSNBC. He was canceled.
You know what? I can't even feel like glee about that, because I don't know. I mean, he's kind of I think he should be speaking out a little bit about why they fired him. So that just speaks to his character a little bit. I mean, Mehdi got me good in that interview. I mean, and all's fair in love and war, and I was not prepared, and he was, and he's good at that shit. That's where he makes his living. But it was the stuff that happened afterward that got me angry, where he was trying to get me sewn up over what was really a mistake on their part, and
yeah, he implied you had perjured yourself. I mean, it really went just crazy.
Exactly. I mean, I think that there's ambitious, and then there's a level beyond that where he lives. And I've never really understood people who are like that. But although I just can't take that much pleasure in his firing. No, I did see that happen. I think as the event, the testimony was taking place, though. It was that day, right?
I would think so. It was earlier this week, so whenever that was, we did the show Wednesday, so I think it was Tuesday that it happened.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those
AOC
things.
jumped on that too, didn't she? AOC after the Mehdi Hasan, she's he should be tried for perjury.
Yeah, and then we heard like the whole leadership was in on that whole thing, and that's why I was fully expecting that they were going to try to lead me into some kind of questioning that was designed to get me wrapped up in some kind of contempt of Congress charge.
Right.
But they clearly got some kind of a PR advisory from, probably from some Burson Marsteller type firm. And they didn't engage us at all, except for Dan Goldman, who did, I think, just because his personality wouldn't let it go. The rest of them didn't even look at us. All they did was they had this other witness, Olivia Troy, there, whose entire purpose was to talk about how bad Donald Trump was. And this is, the Democratic Party's answer to everything is always but Trump. But this was like a parody version of that. Where
Yes.
They were holding like a separate hearing to just move over to but Trump. Every time they had time on the clock, and again, it's just I would love to hear what the real answer is. Like, why are you behind this stuff? And now I think we know. Like, this is their project. They want this. This is an important part of what they're trying to establish. And I think we have to let go of the illusion that there's anything left to the Democratic Party to appeal to. It's not there anymore. Does that make sense, right? I mean, I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, it was a really funny moment to me. I can't remember which congressman it was, but he was questioning Troy. I can't even remember if it was a man or a woman. But they were so leading her into invoking Hitler. It was like,
oh my God.
And who does that remind you of? You know? And she's like, the evil Hitler. And she said something like, I'm pretty sure that's what she said, the evil Hitler.
That's right. Yeah, it was the guy from Massachusetts. I forget what his name is. But yeah, he gave her the vermin setup, and she didn't take the cue that every MSNBC anchor has already said 5,000 times in the last.
Right.
Apparently, she watches the wrong channel in her off time. So they had to go back. They had to on the rebound.
Right.
Tell her, here's what your answer is.
Who does that remind you of? It was ridiculous, and you're right. I mean, it was so clear that they had gotten PR advice.
Right.
Like, listen, you got mocked from one end of the internet to the other for your last attempts to go after these guys. Just pretend they're not there and talk about Donald Trump.
Right.
And minimize the Twitter files by constantly comparing it to other things that you claim are more important than freedom of speech in America. Minimize it by comparison.
Well, right. And so the one interesting thing is that in March when we testified, the argument was still being made that this was not really happening, that this was just a ridiculous conspiracy theory. The FBI had put out a statement, if you remember, and in December, like there are conspiracy theorists on the internet who are saying that we did something wrong, and obviously this isn't true. And that was sort of the party line. Now this has been adjudicated in court. It's going to be in the Supreme Court. We've had 4 federal judges say we think this is very likely in violation of the First Amendment. We're letting this injunction stand because of that. Well, now it's being repealed for other reasons, but so they can't say it's not happening. So instead, they've moved on to, either it's a good thing or we need. I mean, that's the implication, right? With all this stuff. Donald Trump is so scary that we need to have these tools in place to prevent Hitler. But they don't defend the program. They don't defend what they're talking about. They just say that. So this is very frustrating.
Please clap.